Hi, what's up YouTube? I hope all is well with you because things are super fantastic with me. Today is a TFA diary day. With TFA Diaries, what I'm going to be doing is sharing my experiences of being a second and first year teacher with Teach for America, New Orleans. Today is going to be a story time, and I'm going to be talking about how I was placed at my school, specifically the hiring process and school placement. The reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because a lot of people do not know that when it comes to Teach for America, once you get accepted into the program, it doesn't mean that you automatically have a teaching job. You actually have to get hired by your school. And the process in which that happens is different from region to region. It is completely different. And I figured that a few of us can share our experiences when it came to the hiring event. So before I get started with my story, I would like to say that this is a collaboration video, and I am doing this video with two wonderful teacher YouTubers. The first being Miss Tyranny. She has a fantastic channel in which she talks about classroom management, just basically essential things that you would need as a first year teacher, and she's very helpful, so definitely subscribe to her. The second person is Teach Like a Girl. She is a bubbly woman that is from Detroit, and she has just finished her second year with Teach for America, and she is just sharing her whole entire experience of being a middle school teacher. By the way, I forgot to say that Miss Tyranny, she has done 4 years, that's 4, with the Houston TFA. So with that being said, I am going to link their experiences down below in the description box. Go ahead and enjoy the videos and subscribe to them. But don't do that until you have watched my video and of course subscribe to my channel. And of course give me a like, because I like likes. But anyway, without further ado, let me go on with my story and how I got placed at the school that I'm currently teaching at. So I think we should go back to the time that I discovered that I was, the time that I accepted my offer to be placed in New Orleans for Teach for America. So I had exactly a month to get everything together. That meant, packing, getting my finances in order, getting my certification test taken. There was a lot of things that went into preparing to move to New Orleans, of course. And then one of the things was being ready for the interview process that was going to be happening once I got to New Orleans. So there was a few things that I had to do in that account. The first, I had to put my resume and a headshot of myself in the portal. It was like I don't remember what they called it, but it was basically this portal in which all the New Orleans schools that were going to be hiring from Teach for America can go into and look for resumes that interest them. After they have found the resumes that they were interested in, they could email the particular people and give them like a screener in which they would have to answer interview questions before actually getting an interview in person. So basically you wanted to make sure you got a lot of screeners, so there was a lot of people that were interested in you, so you had a lot of interviews, and in turn you would have a lot of choices when it comes to school placement. So that was the first thing we had to do. The second thing we had to do was we had to do interview prep with Teach for America itself. I had a video conference with one of the staff members, and she basically gave me pointers on what to say and what not to say when we got to interview with with the schools in person. So after that interview was over, the person that helped me had said, she had told me specifically, be on the lookout for screeners. There are going to be people that are going to reach out to you. There's going to be schools that are reaching out to you for these screeners, so you can fill them out so that when you get to New Orleans, you can find out whether or not they would like to see you for an interview. So of course I was looking through my emails, waiting for those screeners to come through. And and nothing came through. There were absolutely no screeners for me. And I was really worried. I was like, maybe my email is broken, or maybe they're waiting until the last minute to hire. Who knows? I don't know what's going on. But nevertheless, late May, I made the plane ride over to New Orleans. And just so you know, I had to pay for the plane ticket. So you had to provide your own transportation to New Orleans. But they put us up in a hotel for the hiring event. I had the opportunity to share my hotel room with another TFAer who was from Florida. So of course, when we get in the room, we're asking each other a lot of questions, and we're talking about like the schools. And I remember I was like, okay, I did not get any screeners whatsoever. Did you get a screener? And she informs me that she got like 5. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great, because I got none. And I remember we were talking about the schools and what we were excited about. And she had pointed out one school in particular that she really, really wanted to get an interview with, and ultimately she wanted to teach at, because it was known as a very innovative school and a really like awesome school. So of course, since she wanted to be there, I was like, oh, okay, I want to be at that school too. Because I'm basic. And so I'm like, oh, okay, yes, I need to make sure that I get an interview with that school. That'd be great. But at the same time, I was like, well, I didn't get a screener from that school, so clearly I'm not going to get an interview with them either. So later on that night, we all met in the ballroom, all the people that were there for the hiring event, and they basically gave us the rundown of what was going to happen the next day. So basically what they had was they had all the schools that were hiring from TFA come to the hotel and set up booths. And so what would happen is basically like speed dating, but for schools. So we would have a schedule of a certain amount of schools that we were supposed to see, and we got to interview with them for 10 minutes and then rotate. And so you could have a minimum of like 2 schools that want to see you, or you can have at the most, the cap amount is 8 schools that you would see in that one day. So I remember getting my schedule, really scared to see it because I was like, I didn't get any screeners. And let me tell you, a sister was booked. So I had all 8 schools like filled in. And the one school that I noticed was the school that my roommate had talked about. And so I was really excited about seeing that school in particular. And since I had not been told about any of the other schools, I really had no idea what to expect. But of course, when we went back to our hotel room at night, we looked through all the schools, kind of researched them to see what they were about. And I was really excited about the next day. So like the next day, we went through the speed dating, and I gotta tell you, it was crazy. The whole thing was just crazy. It was a lot of fun, got to meet a lot of leadership. And I remember there was a few that stood out. There was one where it was 3 girls, well, not girls, they were women who were academy directors. They don't call them principals. They were academy directors. And I just remember having a good time with that interview and like feeling the vibes of this particular school. And then of course I was really excited about this particular school that my roommate had said that she wanted to go to. And I just remember there was also a lot of other people that were just like, yes, I'm really interested in that school. And I remember sitting down really excited about the interview and then getting interviewed and not liking the principal at all. I was just like, I'm not feeling this. This is not for me. And so it was so funny because there was all that hype around this school. But once I got to sit down face to face with the principal, I was just like, I'm not gelling with this guy. And so, I mean, it's clear that that school was not a right fit for me. And yeah, that was funny. But nevertheless, there was a few standouts. So there was that one particular school with the 3 women. There was another school in which like it was just an interview with another principal. She was new. It was her first year being principal. And I remember we just had a really cool conversation, and she had told me right away, she was just like, I just want to let you know that I really would like for you to come visit my campus. And I was just like, yes, I would like to come visit your campus too. But after all the 8 interviews happened, we were put into a room. Well, no, we had lunch, and then after lunch, we were informed that there would be up to 3 schools that would invite us the next day to come visit their campus. And the thing is, since it was kind of like summer and school was out, a lot of the schools were not available for visits because there was going to be nobody there. And so I remember that I had 2 schools tell me that they wanted me to come visit because they were having summer school. And so the next day, I went to those schools. But before I went to those schools, I remember that very night, one of I guess the CEO of one of the schools called me and was like, hey, I heard that your interview went very well. I'm looking forward to meeting you tomorrow, but I have an assignment that I would like for you to do before the meeting. I was like, okay. And so while everyone else is having fun and socializing, I had to go to the computer lab and fill out this weird questionnaire. I had to do all these math problems, and it was just the weirdest assignment, in my opinion, ever. I was just like, I don't know what this is about, but okay, I'm about to finish this because I would like to be at the school. So the next day I went to the 2 particular campuses. One campus was really big, really nice, and the staff was amazing. Like, they seemed like they were really great. But they didn't have any children there. It was just everyone prepping for summer school for the next week. And so I got to meet the staff, and the staff seemed really nice. They seemed really cool, and I got a really good vibe from them. And so then I went to the next school, and the next school was like the complete opposite of aesthetically was the complete opposite of the first school I went to. The first school was like nice, roomy, had these big, beautiful classrooms. And then the next school I went to was just, I don't know how to explain it. Basically, the school had no walls. So everything was divided by partitions. It was an old, dilapidated school that you can tell did not have a lot of upkeep. And I was actually, to be quite honest, a little shocked that they were having school in this building, because the school is not conducive to, like, I guess, silent learning, in my opinion, because it's just an open space. Like, the library itself does not have walls. It's in the middle of the building. Like, but I remember just being, like, so fascinated with the staff, partly because one of the staff members looked exactly like, no joke, like Blair from Gossip Girl. I was obsessed with that. and also, like, they seemed like a really caring staff that was very passionate about what they did. And then on top of that, they made me read in front of a 2nd grade class. They made me read a book, and they gave me pointers on how I read the book. They told me I did a wonderful job. It was so much fun reading to the kids. And like, they gave pointers and just asked me questions. I asked them questions. But also, I forgot to tell you this. I'm sorry. This was the school in which the principal, or the CEO, had given me this long little test the night before. And the CEO was not there. I was like, oh, where is he? And it turned out he had jury duty, and so he could not make it. And I was disappointed because I wanted to see who this guy was. But nevertheless, like, I had Googled him and I'd seen what his face looked like, but I just, didn't get to meet him in person, and I was kind of bummed about that. But I really enjoyed the school visit because you can tell there was a really strong team at that school. But nevertheless, I went back to the TFA headquarters, and it was time for lunch. So I ate lunch, like, really fast, and then all of a sudden I get a phone call and it was the CEO of that particular school, and he was like, yeah, so I need you to come outside so we can talk, because I just got out of jury duty. My staff said they thought that you were great, but I want to talk to you personally before, making any kind of decisions. So I was like, okay, cool, I can do that. So I tell the TFA staff members, I was like, okay, I'm just going outside for just a moment to talk to a principal. And they were just kind of like, huh? And I was like, well, he's outside. And they were just like, oh, okay, fine. So I went outside, and the principal, well, not the principal, sorry, the CEO, he was in his car, like talking on the phone. And I knew who he was because I'd seen videos of him on the school website that I had researched, a few nights back. And so I wave him like, hey, I'm here. And then he rolls down the window and he's just like, hey, get in the car. And I was just like, oh, okay, I guess I will get in the car because, we're probably going to talk in the car instead of outside. That's fine. And I knew who he was, so it's not like anything terrible was going to happen because, well, like I knew he was the principal. Then all of a sudden, he just like starts driving. And I'm just like, wait, where are you taking me? And he was like, oh yeah, I'm taking you to get something to eat. Like, let's go get something to eat. And I'm like, what? First of all, I was like, I can't believe that, first of all, I got in the car with a stranger. He's now driving me someplace I don't know. And this is ridiculous. And at that time, I was like, oh my goodness, like, he's taking me out to eat. Okay, I just ate lunch. And so he's like, where do you want to go? Do you want barbecue? Do you want American? Do you want Italian? Do you want sushi? And so I figured, because I didn't want to feel like a pig and be like, oh, I just ate. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to say I want sushi. Can I go get sushi, please? So we went to a sushi restaurant and we ended up talking for like an hour and a half. He just wanted to know a little bit about me, where I was coming from, what my intentions were as a teacher, how I could contribute to his particular school. And so it was a very enjoyable conversation. And I was like, I really like this guy. The fact that he really wanted to know who the teachers were before he hired them, I had a lot of respect about that. But your school, I had to be honest, I was like, but the school aesthetically is terrible. And he's like, I'm aware of that. We're switching schools in a few years. It's just that's the school that they gave us to start this charter with. Because basically all the schools, by the way, are charter schools. And so that means it used to be a public school. They got shut down. And so a charter school moved in and they just had to deal with what they got. So he dropped me back off and he was just like, I hope you choose us. And I was like, okay, we'll see. But basically later on that night, the way things worked is the schools got to rank you and tell the TFA who they wanted. And the way it worked is if one school wanted you, then that's the school you went to. If no schools wanted you, you had to go through the hiring process again until a school picks you. And then if multiple schools wanted you, they'll give you all the offers and then you had 5 minutes to pick which school you'd want to go to. So basically that night we had to wait, and then we got called up one by one to see like our results. My roommate, she got 2 offers, which was awesome. And then when it came to me, I knew that I got that one particular offer from the guy that kidnapped me. And so I was just curious to see if I got any others. So altogether, I had 4 schools that wanted to hire me. And so I had 5 minutes to choose which school I wanted to go to. And so you had basic information like pay, what grade you'd be teaching, and what kind of benefits they had. And so after looking at everything and contemplating, I went ahead and I took the school. I took the school that kidnapped me, basically. And the reason why is because I got a good vibe from not only the person in charge of the school, but the directors of the program, by the staff, and the fact that I got to read to the kids. I could see myself actually teaching at that school, even though the building is terrible. So now I'm going into my 2nd year teaching at this particular school, and so far so good. I am enjoying my decision, and I don't really look back to see like what would life be if I had chose the other 2 schools that gave me offers. I'm kind of happy where I am. Teaching is hard. I have to say that like off the bat, it is really, really hard. But it is so much easier to teach when you have a strong group of educators around you, and that's what I have at this school. I mean, our school may not be aesthetically pleasing, but I have to say that the staff that is there cares for the kids that we serve, and I really can't ask for any more than that. But yeah, that is my story about how I got placed at the particular school that I'm at. And like I said before, my story is unique to other people's stories. Everyone else has a different story. So go ahead and check out the other 2 stories in the links down below and see how they differ. And good luck if you're in the process of being placed at a school. With that being said, I hope that you're doing everything you need to do in order to have a happy, successful life. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.